We are being in front of the camera again after a while, but I think something like this and a topic like this really deserves to be talked about. You all know what happened with George Floyd. You all know what happened with the outcome and the protests, and we all know who's responsible for all this. If you've seen the video online, you know how fucked up it really was. Excuse my French throughout this entire video. How he went out was extremely disturbing, and the 4 cops, not just the one that or 2 that has been responsible for the actual murder, but every single one of those cops deserve to be arrested, prosecuted, and I hope they go to jail. They deserve it, and it's weird that it's only been one of them that has been through all of that. It should be all 4 of them. The other 3 should get the same treatment as the one that is the most responsible for it, but they're equally trash for what they did. And it's weird to see cops act like this, because I have nothing against people that want to be cops, and I even have people that I know that have been in the police force, served in the police force, are in the police force right now, and I'm incredibly friendly to them, and I respect them, and I respect the risk they handle. But sometimes risk can be extremely powerful. It could be extremely high, and sometimes I worry. And the outcome of it is we all know what's happening right now with the protests. For me, peaceful protests, obviously keep doing them. They're incredibly telling of what people want. They need change, and having people hold up signs and shout for change, I'm all in. I'm all in for that. It's nothing against them. I have a problem with people, obviously, that want to use this protest to their advantage to get anger out in a way that's more violent. How people are losing their businesses because people are just angry about this. I get it. It's a very terrible time for people right now, and it's a terrible situation that we're in right now. But I don't want people to get hurt because other people seek to have their own say in a more violent way. On the other side of it all, the cops that are more violent towards people, also other protesters, also are responsible for this. They're no different than the people that are using Molotovs and all these very lethal weapons and destroying cars, destroying property, other people's businesses. It shouldn't go to this. George Floyd would not want this to happen. He'd rather see more peaceful protests rather than more violent ones that we have. I've heard about it on the news. Some towns that are near mine have been going through it. Gratefully, I've seen more peaceful protests from other people I know, rather than ones that have people run over by cop cars and throwing Molotovs. I rather see change in a more peaceful way rather than going through a war of sorts. I really can't see that happening. But seeing how the cops are handling it too, it's a mixed bag. Like, if cops agree, like, I think majority of cops are good, and I think they're good people and good people that have the right mindset. But then there are those cops that are like the one that killed Floyd, that want the aggression to continue by their own hand. It's not. In my opinion, it's no different of what action they do. If it's more to harm people than it is to help them. Like, it still sticks to my stomach that's still coming to this when it comes to racism and it comes to how cops are treating other people, and particularly minorities. I'm all for change, but it's also I also want other people's perspectives to change. For me, I didn't know much about the situation at the beginning. I thought it was just a man who was recklessly doing something wrong, and it was an accident of how he died. And while it may be still considered an accident, knowing the context behind it and knowing that he did nothing wrong, it's extremely disturbing to think, and it's weird to think that we're still in a time like this. if I have kids of my own, I don't want them to be in a world where this still continues. If it continues on, then who would want to live in a world like that? I'm not saying anything of the sort of bad things. I'm just saying we need change. We need change immediately. It cannot come later. It cannot come sooner. It has to happen now. And hopefully, sooner or later, change will happen. So, that's my 2 cents on the matter. I don't want to go further than this. You all know everyone pretty much has the same thoughts on it. Mine is just more speaking of the matter rather than keeping it in thought. Honestly, this needs to change now, and we can't have it later.